advantages that Trade the Pool has to offer you guys, right? Yeah, I'm struggling right now. That's just the truth of the matter, right? But the truth is I can battle back with a little bit more confidence than how most would. And trust me, I that's just how it is. When you have a small account and you're taking big bets, you always think, well, don't forget you can owe a brokerage. And if you go into the red deep on the trade, yeah, they're going to cut you out. But sometimes they might be a little late to that cutout, and you might owe them some cash. So watch out there, guys. We'll see what happens. CSAI, can it go for another breakout here? Big part of it, also the MACD still working in my favor, right? I talk about RSI above 60s. We're right in that area, and we've gone to like about 80. So good sweet spot there. So I just want to bring multiple indicators to show you how you look for the continued move. Nice pullback on that. What? Low volume on that pullback there to 650, telling me that a lot of selling did not want to happen in the selling spot. Up here is expected high volume because that's profit taking. But down here, you're looking to see if some stops are getting activated. It's the opposite. Buying probably re-happening here towards the 7. We'll see if it takes out the high there, and holding the 9 EMA. You can just ride the trend higher. This is a good example trade to show you guys how you can ride one of these bad boys. Only thing is, there's never certainty. So you're going to always feel that, should I run to the cash? Should I run to the cash? Number one way to take that away is to pay yourself along the way, right? And so let's say if it pops towards like 8, yeah, I want to take some off and just keep riding it, ride it higher. It's not about taking all out at the top because that is very hard to do. And one thing that can happen is the trade can come back on you on these small names. So you always got to remember that. Best way to do that is to always pay yourself and take some of that off the table.
Absolutely. So we are seeing some pretty systemic selling here, just heavy pressure. You saw it try to pop up there and just instantly bopping back on down. So, people are definitely not interested in buying into this at this point, into potential tariff news. It's, it's a mean reversion from, if you're looking at the 2-day range, it seems to be, to me in my bear suit, trend continuation down. The news keeps on coming and it is not great. As Rando mentioned, is he going to liberate us from freedom? I think a lot of people are a little bit worried. So, we gotta keep an eye on the macro stuff and the geopolitical stuff. I know things are heating up in the Middle East. We have a third Russian ceasefire that's failed to go through. A lot of things in the world are a little bit suspicious. So, we'll see how it goes. I would not be surprised to see a small bounce here and then see that kind of faded off and then trade up into close, maybe the second half of the day, just to get that kind of pin somewhere in the middle of the yesterday's range. But yeah, I don't know. It's
Can I get a little cup and handle?
Oh, there it is.
Can I get a little handle here? Can I get the handle?
I did see someone mention towards the beginning of the day before market opened or right after, or do we have a cup and handle forming? And I will use this opportunity to pitch my book a little bit. I'm going to be talking about. So this Thursday seminar is going to be on, thank you. It'll be on identifying the most successful Bulkowski patterns. I know it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. And I will say that this cup and handle that we saw pre-market did invalidate when it lost, or at least I believe, I will be double checking my notes, but I believe it invalidated when it lost the 50% of the right wall of that cup. So look at that. So
Catch my boy on Trader TV live, guys. He'll actually be live on the show and then running a webinar right here on this channel. Timing is at 4:30, right? Am I correct?
Let's see. I believe, 4:30 I will be on. 4:15 I will be on Trader TV, and then 4:30 I will be over here for Trade the Pool.
Guys, don't miss it. My man Steve, guys. And I love it. I love it because one of the things I like to bring most is I know how trading can be, guys. And there's always going to be guys in the chat that like my energy, the way that I go about things. There's going to be people that love Michael Noss's side of things. And then there's going to be people that like Steve's side, right? The truth is we're bringing you different personalities, different perspective, but a professional approach. That's what we want to do, guys. We want you guys to learn, right? Because that's the truth. And that's what we do this stream. That's why we're super transparent here. And that's what it's all about, guys. So it's good to see guys like Eldon come back. I know that he comes in back and forth, heading to work now, and a lot of you guys out there. So it's definitely good to see you guys. And like always, we're going to show different sides of trading and teach you guys different ways. Let's see if this down action can slow down here as the VIX taking a big push.
Took some profit, or took all profits in MU. So I'm out of that. Nice. So that was the one trade today. Again, nice. VWAP, Blue Arrow, 2-day VWAP. Just seeing a lot of kind of support in this area, so I just kind of punked out. Plus, it was just yesterday's close, so the gap is filled there on that one, so I took that one out. Then again, the SPY, just basing around here. Thing I'm looking at is there was a lot of action here yesterday. We had that fake out where we trapped a lot of the bears right off the open, and then we consolidated here as kind of the lunchtime play. So could be just a zone that we get to and start to chop around as the day kind of ticks along. And then again, the only other trade I'm looking for is Johnson & Johnson that's bouncing here. So it's got to get through 2-day VWAP. That's going to be a pretty wide stop, but just the math still works, right? Because your stop goes here, and then the target's 2-day VWAP, and that's 2-ish risk reward. And then I'm actually still watching ICCT from Steph here, just to see. He hasn't gotten that blue arrow sell just yet, but that's on a chart too. If I take that, I'll probably take like 100 shares just to, again, these lower float ones, they're crazy. So I just kind of want to like take them super small, give them their time, give them their room, just to see, right? Because if there's going to be times that this strategy is going to be really slow like this, it just makes sense to maybe go to that crazier stuff that might be a little quick. But that's about it. Again, just like we talked about today, not right a whole lot of craziness in either direction, right? Yes, we're down 1%, but we were up huge yesterday. So, you know, looking at this is kind of in yesterday's range. We could take something here from our boy Steve and just do that 50% mark, which is sitting right here. So that's 50% of yesterday's range. Also the chop yesterday, right? Everything feels pretty chill out there, except MLGO. This thing is
a lot of things, but chill is not one of them.
Look, so just tried, and each of these are gaps. Probably better to look at this on a 1-minute chart, right? Yeah. So sell off, halt, open, halt, halt right here. Just avoided a halt right there, from $34 to $19. So we're almost cut in half here from the high. It's just insanity on these moves. Crazy action.
It's that one type of day. That's why I went trading elsewhere. But the VIX seems to be the spot now to 54, as we saw that breakout from 52.50s. Nice breakout on the VXX. So you're able to trade that. That's in a nice kind of rounding circle now. We'll see if it goes for the cup and handle pattern. That's why I think it'll just ping pong right back here, guys. So we made it down through that 555 spot to 554. Now starting to work back. So this is where I'd expect to see a little bit more of that ping-ponging action. Let's see if we ping-pong now back towards the middle of the chart.
Yeah, we found a little bit of buyers right in Michael's little zone of congestion yesterday. Makes complete sense. Love to see it. So we can see if that gets any follow-through there.
Now, just like we saw yesterday, the real question is if we get one of these moves yesterday where we have undercut the pre-market low, undercut 2-day VWAP, if we're trading back above VWAP on the SPY today, I'd be worried to be a bear in that scenario, just because, right, everyone's still kind of hyped up. Question always is, right, we got to remember the institutions, they're not buying breakouts. They just don't do it. They're buying dips. The question is where. So if a buy program flips on here, now that we're under pre-market low, 2-day VWAP, we know is a big deal, and we're sitting kind of right there right now. If they flip on a buy program here, again, it'd be a rough day to be a bear, that's for sure. And again, so we talk about relative strength, relative weakness a lot. And one of the reasons I took out the MU was just because it's almost looking relatively strong at this point, right? This is yesterday's close, and yeah, we were bleeding through it a little bit, but not by much compared to the SPY. So got a question on Square. Oh, geez, XYZ. First of all, That's enough, guys. You've changed your name 3 times. It's enough. It's over. It's a square, block, cube, whatever you're going to call yourself. Just XYZ. I think he did it because there's all these textbooks. And like, if you ever went to finance school, it's always ABC Corp and XYZ Corp. So he's probably just trying to get the piggyback off that. So I don't know. It's a good, I know your kind of style swing trading, right? Is to get the little oversold. You're looking for a day or two bounce. It looks good for that. Just know you're fighting a pretty wicked trend there. So
yeah, with
and the
with
fact it
caps
was
under
relatively weak. Yeah, relatively weak yesterday too,
Yeah.
right? Everything ripped yesterday, and this didn't even close the gap. So that would have me a little bit worried as well. But nice looking hammer. Just one of those. Everything had a nice looking hammer yesterday. So I don't know if I'm too into that. But again, yeah, you got a pretty clear level. Again, I love these. Yeah, I say it all the time. One of my ex-mentor called them basement window trades, right? If you're going to jump out the window, might as well be the basement window. Right where you're wrong.
What's with all the jumping out the window?
Go from there.
It's been red lately, Mitch. We got we gotta go with the trend to some extent or another. But
hey, everybody lock those windows, all right?
Johnson,
right, guys.
getting close there. Spy trying to put in a little bit of a
it's a battle type of day, guys. Battle type of day. We'll see what goes on. At least I can tell the Trader TV guys I pushed them in the right direction today. I said MLGO maybe coming down. I said, but don't forget, there's other ones out there. CSAI was one of those mentioned on Trader TV this morning. So and they should be happy about that one at least. I'm sure they're at least taking a look. The SPY coming right back though, right?
Back through.
The ping pong is here, guys. The ping pong is here. And one of the things that I'm seeing on the ping pong action, and if you see this on the kind of on the 1 minute, what's happening? So what we got was in the morning, we got a tightening of range. Now we're getting an expanding of range in between the ping pong action, right? And so now it's kind of just ping ponging and giving us higher highs and then lower lows, higher highs and lower lows. This tells me more and more just chop, right? Just chop, right? Just I want to hang out here. That's what the market's telling me. And it's a tough trade.
Well, just like, I remember when I'm beginning of the year, I was saying, listen, we had 2 back-to-back 20% years. Wouldn't be surprised for some choppy action this year. Same thing, right? We had a massive rip yesterday and everything was rallying. Like if you owned a stock that wasn't up yesterday, you really got to look at it hard because it's one of those, every stock was up yesterday. So it makes perfect sense that after a big move like that, you take a little bit of a rest. You take a little bit of a breather, especially with such a large market moving event on the horizon. You got to think that that's gonna be a pretty big deal there. So yeah, trying to. I don't expect it just to slice through here in one go, but trying to get back over pre-market low, trying to get back over the 2-day VWAP. So we got to just see, right? Give it 10, 15 minutes here, see if it holds above this zone. Again, back through VWAP, this thing could be a lot like yesterday. Undercut, get all the bears super riled up, say, oh, we're going to go back to lows. And then if we rip back through, it wouldn't be shocking to see pre-market high and challenge yesterday's high. But again, I'm still in the camp, like Steve was saying, just inside day, right? So it just means, so what that means is just this candle on the daily chart means I don't think we're going to break yesterday's high to any super extent, and I definitely don't think we're going to break yesterday's low to any crazy extent. I wouldn't be shocked if we're just right here when we close, a little bit higher, a little bit lower kind of thing.
And I'm just hanging out in CSAI.
I hear you. Sometimes it's nice to be in those well, I was going to say low, I guess it is low beta, low correlation SPY trades, on days where there's not much going on in the market. Sometimes.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I'm not worried about the market noise right now.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? And so we'll see what happens here. Can the ping pong ball get back to maybe the 200 moving average? I don't know. It's starting to ping pong down here a little bit, but I think you're just playing a little bit of that chop. Look how the VIX came back on the 15-minute. That's one area that I'll be watching to see if we break the 5250 again. So the VXX just pulling back a little bit there from 54 to 53s pretty quickly. So dollar move on that thing. it's moving fast. I'll tell you that much. Money to be made.
Yeah, the battle.
XLE getting red, XLP or XLF getting red. How's the XLP today? Hanging in there on the support, 81.51, and that just shows you more and more that it's not a rotation towards defensive names. It's just it's the ping pong action, guys.
Seems like de-risking across the board here. All of my sectors are red, which is interesting. You don't see that too often.
Yeah, that's the danger station and not big red, and so choppy. Healthcare is where I see some more red action, like kind of a bigger drag. If I wanted to call out an area that's dragging today, it'd definitely be healthcare.
Yeah, that's got to be that Johnson & Johnson news, right? Like
I was just gonna say, yeah.
I don't think it's a Johnson & Johnson news, guys. I will say this, why, Michael, because I've seen that Johnson & Johnson news, that same headline about the concerns with the talc come in and out of that stock for like the last 3 years. So I don't think that's that concern. So one thing that was mentioned, and it was mentioned by the Wall Street Journal, was that there wasn't going to be any pharma tariffs mentioned. Could this be a telling sign?
Well, there's a couple things.
I'll throw the rumor mill out there.
Really quick. So J&J is 7.5% of XLV.
That's what I was going to say.
It's just dragging it. Just dragging it.
It's the third biggest holding for sure. And the other thing is just, head on a swivel in terms of pharma stuff. It's a little bit different, but biotech. Who was it? There was some key figure that was given an ultimatum, either resign or get canned, and I think he resigned. So that XBI was looking like just dire straits, and I wouldn't expect a big bounce there quite yet. I'm not sure the Make America Healthy Again thing is quite playing out in terms of stock returns on these biotech companies, and we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on with that sector, and honestly, I'm kind of that's definitely potential. I'm seeing that Head and Shoulders that you're drawing there. It's spooky, no doubt.
The best Head and Shoulders patterns are the ones that break up. Right?
Yeah.
You get a Head and Shoulders that reverses the failure of it. They're just they can just be amazing. But yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, there's no way that Johnson & Johnson down 4% and being nearly 10% of the index is not pulling the rest. It's just one of those. That's the, we always talk about these index, but I always think it's important, and I always remind people they have to disclose the holdings on their website every single day, right? So you don't need to know, you don't need to guess what's in the XLV. It's Johnson & Johnson, right? And then the other thing is, if you've got TradingView, this is just one thing. This is the heat map, right? So you can just see, you can take by market cap. You can say, okay, yeah, Johnson & Johnson is a massive market cap in the XLV, and it's just down a bunch. So that, and then Lilly down a bit. That's kind of leading everything. Everything else is just kind of, whatever, up or down 1%, both in line with market movements. These two are really, really suffering, really kind of pulling the whole market down. And then when it comes to the rest of the sector, kind of mixed, right? We've got Microsoft up a bit, Google up a bit, Netflix down a bit, right? Walmart, Tesla doing really, really well. Where the rest of this kind of consumer durables, which is mainly car companies and cars and houses, those are down quite a bit. So it's a lot of slightly red, right? A lot of, it's not like one sector's really, really crazy and then the rest of them are doing okay. Just everything's kind of slightly red with just, you can see just pockets of green here and there. I haven't even looked at Tesla today.
Yeah, I wonder what the relative strength is. I wonder if people are just banking on some goodies for them.
There's this
wise.
It's a yellow event, so I didn't bring it up, but it's all day. It's Ward's total vehicle sales is supposed to come in at some point today. So I don't know if that's got something to do with it. You could look at, I guess, Ford and GM and some of these other guys, maybe. But I guess I just looked at it. It just kind of counts the amount of vehicles that are sold each year, I think. So that's coming up, and that's just like, that's an all day thing. So I just don't know if it's like an event or if it's, I don't know, a conference or whatever it is. But yeah, that's that could move some of these. But again, I'm very long Tesla, so I'm okay with the fact that it's outperforming the market today. The idea was just to go over it. Is I'm just marking when it comes to relative strength. I'm just taking the March lows. If how far we are above the March lows is telling me how relatively strong your name is, right? Keep it nice and simple. Don't overcomplicate it. So anything that is at or below those March lows, because that's the reason I'm anchoring there is because the SPY is pretty much at those March lows, right? So anything that's well above that, it's relatively strong. Anything that's below that is relatively weak. And then I'm just kind of trying to buy the things that are holding above that zone, and then selling the things that are not, right? So Palantir is one that I'm watching. It's a little bit above those March 2025 lows, but the anchored view out from high. So they have Tesla. I just took a kind of a shot yesterday as this thing started to push up here. I got little trade on it here, sold out some, and then bought some here as well. Looking for, this is kind of more of a long-term play. If we can get above the anchored view app, see if it can get to high. So like doing that trading around a core to try to, help the mental, right? If I can make what I'm risking on the trade just by trading around it, then it'll make me feel a lot better just risking that March 2025 low.
Absolutely. Free rolling a trade early on in the trade is one of the best feelings in the world. It takes the weight off your shoulders. It lets your idea cook. It really is one of the best feelings. Can't say it enough. Nice trade in there.
I bought, when I was talking yesterday with Mitch, right? I wasn't doing too much from the day trading point of view, but I was buying a lot of stocks.
Yeah.
So I got
like a good day. It was a good day to ride it.
CRSR. That one's down a little bit. LEU. Right? It's not up insanely on them, but I bought a lot, and basically just because my system told me to. And then looking at what happened there on the SPY.
Is LEU, is that a uranium name?
I think so.
Yeah, it's been a tough couple months for the sector, but I'm still incredibly bullish on them long term. So I love it. Yeah,
gold put up its run there, guys. I will say that that could be a good name to maybe look for a little bit of some pullback action. Way too much gold talk lately, right? So watch for a later in the day break of that trend. One area that I think is very important to kind of keep an eye out right now, I'm watching the leisure space to see how much the destruction is going to be in there. UAL, DAL has been going down all day long. That was my mention on Trader TV. Watch out for the airlines and cruise lines coming on down. So DAL, UAL, really weak openings today. Expecting these to come out with guidance, lowering guidance. So that's the major concern. So it's a fundamental outlook also. And then for RCL, take a look at that chart. For me on the daily, that still looks like it's like a weird head and shoulders. It's like a head and shoulders is slanted to the downside. But the only way that I can see that is a head and shoulders. So I think this is looking like we could be coming through that 200 and a bigger breakdown after that bounce that we got, right? It's kind of like a dead cat bounce. We'll see what happens.
That'll be a good bellwether sector, I think, because they're just the clear leader on the way up. Another thing just to throw out there, devil's advocate, I have no feelings whatsoever, but I did see large Delta flow, DAL flow, bullish calls. I forget the strike, but I believe they were July calls, June calls maybe. So somebody's trying to fade you, Mitch.
I hear it.
Hope he gets smoked.
I hear it. No, it's all about the guidance. If we do get that lowered guidance, right, that will break us through a long-term trend in the industry. The industry's been on growth since the pandemic. I think in this point it runs into a tough year, right? That's just the way that I see it. And so with that, valuation starts getting hit a little bit. And it's not that I don't like the cruise lines. Trust me, you guys know I'm all about the cruise lines, but it just seems to me like if we're looking for consumer spending to come down, these are the stocks that get hit the most. Cyclical names, essentially. That's what I'd be looking for. Right now, CSAI on the brink of the breakout. Let's see if we get it there. But definitely watching for this name to see if we get the breakout there. Let's go. Let's see if this is the time for the 7 break here. If I see it on the 5 minutes, that's the rule of 3 coming into play, and then closing back above 7 is a big watch here. So we'll look to see if we get a close on a 5-minute basis above 7, a good sign. Here's 697s on the offer. Will they take it? Will they take it? Not much at 7 there, only 2,500 shares. There's not much, man. They could take it really quickly. Let's see what happens.
Nice expansion on SPY there. Looks like it is trying to carve out a lower low, fake breakdown there.
Rebound. The ping pong ball is coming back.
I'm looking to take some SPXL, right? If we just get closer, hopefully we don't go too much on this candle. 5-minute candle close here is what I'm looking to take a trade. And I'm also watching this ICCT that Steph gave us just to see, again, a 5-minute candle close below VWAP would trigger the blue arrow. Looked like that was going to happen. Maybe not here, but yeah, just looking to see a flush. And again, 2-day VWAP is 168. I don't think I would necessarily bet on that, but a little bit of a flush down would be nice on a trade like that. So
talk about
could happen.
Right? So what I'm seeing is it's interesting. We were talking about volatility compression, but so far today's price action has been seek and destroy range sweeping. You know, take out the new lows, new high, new low. Let's see if we get the new high. Keep the trend going. Still a lot of room to wiggle around in that previous day's candle, though.
The highest flyer of them all, Newsmax coming down, baby, coming down.
Yeah, halt. This is one of those scary on the way downs, right? Where if you weren't, right, these are Ponzi schemes, right? Playing these things, right? It's one of those. The only reason this is going up is because you're getting that bigger fool buying it at a higher price. As soon as that, as soon as the musical chair stops, sometimes these can just.
You got to be fast to get in a chair, baby.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's and same with MLGO. That was just and this ICCT. Any chart that looks like this, right, this isn't a good company, right? This is just something that's just rallying.
Cha-ching. We got a breakout, baby. 750's coming up here, guys. Let's go. Here we go. 740, 750's coming soon here. 750 break, and I'll definitely take some off here. This is the pre-market high. We're hitting it right now, guys. So just be careful for some profit taking to come in here.
Yeah, the candle close should be pretty telling.
All right, I'm getting a little bit anxious there. I took some profits there, guys. Had to pay myself along the way here, and I've been holding this for so long. Now I hold the final third for the bigger breakout, right? For the big boy move here. And what do? I set the stop towards 650s and let her go. Why 650s? I'm just going to use the VWAP and put it slightly below the VWAP, right? Just looking for it to expand away and give it the chance to break the pre-market high. Pre-market high 747. We just tapped it. Now we need to see volume come through that level as we go towards the breakout. You can see that right there. It's literally tapped it right on the knob. It went to 749. Now looking for the 750 break and continued breakout there. We'll look to see what happens, at least back in the green on the day, because I did take a hit on, of course, CSAI on the first down action, showing you that you can bounce back on a name like this. You just got to be able to just kind of play it there, right? I managed the down action. I actually even sized in, got out really quickly on a small bounce. And now I'm seeing the up action. We'll look to see if it holds the 9 EMA like I talked about. 9 EMA is what kept me in there on that whole side action.
Nice. And another great example of trading around a core position, right? It really does take the weight off your shoulders, as we saw live. So nice trading, guys.
Yeah, and not a bad name. Of course, Trader TV, we're coming towards there every Tuesday, guys. So catch us on there.
Every Thursday.
Tuesday and Thursdays.
Oh, really? Awesome.
I'm there in the morning, and then Michael, I think, is there on Mondays. But
Mondays and Fridays. Yeah,
you see, we're out there, guys. Come check us out.
Love to see it. They're good guys.
Yeah, I've been hanging out with those guys for.
Yeah, you've been on the set a couple times, right, Michael?
6, 7. Yeah, well, yeah, I've been on there probably 5, 6 times. On
they're set. A little closer to you than they are to us, I think.
That's awesome.
They're good dudes. Good dudes.
No, they're definitely good dudes. So I'd love to see Neil in action. I think Neil relates more to my trading style. So I like Neil. Some people like Sean, right? And I think that's the important part, guys, is find traders like you, right?
It's a wild set. They spent $4 million building out the set. It's
okay. Nuts. Well, I'm trying to build out the set here, but not with that much. I will say that.
What are you talking about? Speaking of get Michael in here.
You guys are gonna have to say goodbye to my couch. That's I'm gonna have a nice setup for next week, so you'll have some fun stuff to look at that isn't a beige couch.
Love it, dude. I'm trying to expand too, man.
green screen. You can put whatever you want back here. I can be
fancy. We're getting
Actually,
nice
here, let's
expansion
do-
on SPY here, getting that new
Yeah,
high.
this guy Michael lives in the metaverse.
let's do some. I could be at either of your guys' places if I want here. Look at this.
Either of our places. You see that? You see that? He's in the metaverse, man.
Oh yeah. It's the future is now, Mitch. The future is now.
He's buying fart coin, you know.
There we go.
Boy.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's in Steve land now.
So now I got the coach. I got the coach back there.
He's just Steve now.
Oh geez.
Oh, good lord. Wow. Good lord. He's taking over, guys.
That's a nice guitar, Michael. I think we have similar taste.
I gotta find that.
Oh man.
I gotta find my window. I set that up because I was on CNBC and they yelled at me because what you see is actually the window behind me. But they're like, yeah, it washes out. You know, you should have light in front of you, not behind you, all that kind of stuff. They blew all that up. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just take a picture of the window and be good to go.
Yeah. It's green screens are tough, man. They're hard to deal with sometimes, you know, and you got to have a nice quality camera. That's the main thing. But hey, building setups
this
too.
Week, so we're building on out.
Hey, got to keep it building, man. Just like I'm trying to keep it building on CSAI, trying to reload at 7 there. And that's how it goes a lot of the times, right? So a lot of times with these smaller names, you get these quick pullbacks to wash out the buyers on the quick move up, right? So back to 7 doesn't scare me here, right? And we'll see what happens. What do you got here?
Here's the blue arrow on ICCT.
There we go. I like it.
100 shares of it. So I'm short just tiny, and I just stop right above there.
There's nothing wrong with it. I like the idea. If you look at the waves on this thing on the 15 minutes, how many waves are in this? Like if you just scroll back from yesterday's action, these are the charts I love, guys. So what do you see here, right? And this is important. I look for a lot of times 1, 2, 3, 4 waves up there, right? 4 kind of moves up higher, right? 4 moves down, 4 moves up. So a lot of times on that 4th move is when we see the stuff. Yeah. It's the ABCD, right? And running into that D pattern and then just starting to pull back, right? We'll see what happens here, guys. It's a good area to look for the stuff to come in.
So I'm very curious to watch what SPY does here, just because we finally got the range sweep high. And, you know, if we were playing max pain compression, I would expect to see this get faded a little bit. That'd be wild if we saw a new low, but hey, there's a lot of game left to be played. So let's see if we get the classic V here, certainly trying, or if we get a no funsies allowed day and just everybody loses, you know, or everybody wins if you're a fast trader like our guys on here. But you know,
I'm looking for the undercut of the low on the VXX and then just coming right back.
Right, there's your 2-day VWAP. Right, comes in, little bleed below, back through the pre-market low. That's got to be the buy, right? So again, I think that's going to be setup 2. So setup 1 is just these AVWAP fades, right? They're doing okay. Especially, it seems like it's one of those things that automation and earning season is going to work. The next thing that I'm going to start trying is trying to figure out how to scan for stocks that are extended into that 2-day VWAP. You know, down multiple candles in a row into that 2-day VWAP. Look to take a shot there. Like MU didn't get quite there, but I'm glad I got out where I did.
Yeah.
XPEV, I missed this one, but I was the short right into 2-day VWAP bouncing now. So Johnson & Johnson, I'm still watching just to see if we get over VWAP, that will trigger the green arrow buy. Again, I bought this one here in the pre-market, but I mean, with the tiny buying power we have in the pre-market, when it came back, got me out flat here. Now I'm looking to get back in if we get back to this price. And again, targeting 2-day VWAP, which is like 5 points above. So you don't have to take it very big for 5 points to be pretty significant, pretty good for you.
VXX dip in there. We'll see if it gets through the pre-market low 52.02. I'd like to see it go underneath 52 and then look to see if we get a ping pong action right back. That might bring the SPY closer towards like maybe 559s and then he comes right back. So I don't know. I could see the ping pong just continuing to play here.
You know what's not ping ponging, guys?
What's
Bonds.
that?
That's something to keep in mind here. So I mean, it does make sense. It tracks
GLT.
into, yeah, it definitely tracks into potential shock and flight to safety if tomorrow doesn't bode well. So there's always different contingencies or different cohorts of traders, right? There's often bifurcation between the bond traders and equities traders. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, and if the bonds traders are right to be buying into this. I tend to kind of believe they are, but I'm trying not to let my personal doomerisms color my trading too much. That's always something we got to keep in mind.
Well, yeah, what's important about the bond market is it's actually finally come back as a risk-on asset. It hasn't been for the last 5-6 years now, right? Where we were having, you just look, you take TLT and then you just overlay the SPY. These things have not been working the way the textbook said they did,
right,
for a very long time, and it's been hurting a lot of people. Where, right, when we had through here, we had bond selling, and we had the SPY selling at the same time, all through this area, and then finally now they're starting to converge again, where you're having bonds go down when stocks kind of go up, and then bonds go up a bit when stocks go down. So yeah, that's an interesting thing, and I think that has a lot to do with rates. Right now that we know what the rate policy is, having the market crash and then raise rates that quickly, I think, is what broke that correlation. But it looks like it might be back, at least for now.
All right, guys, considering to go for the ad and the continuation here. So let's see what happens on CSAI. What I'm looking to do is, if I do take the ad from there, of course, it's break even and looking for the breakout above 7 here. So here's the 7 recovery. Now it can come in. I'm looking for the kind of the volume to see if we get some volume pickup here. We did get nice volume pullback. Very little volume on that pullback. So I don't think sellers have really came in here. Let's see if we can take 7 and really make a move here. So there's 709 on the offer. I'm looking for one more pullback to like 7 on the offer so that I can go ahead and take the ad.
Yeah, SPY's kind of chilling out. We're getting close to that kind of lunch hour-ish time, and we're at today's high. So it wouldn't surprise me if we spend another couple candles just kind of flirting with this area. Above there, you got pre-market high, which also lines up with yesterday's high as well, right? So, both those zones both those zones are very important. First, we got to get through today's high. Could happen. It's just one of those time of day mixed with how much we've pushed to get here. I certainly wouldn't bet short in this market right now. I think a bunch of bears probably got their face ripped off there again, just like they did yesterday. I mean, yesterday, everybody was all bared up again. You can see it in the data, which is what I love. I wish we had more data like that, right? Real time short float. Oh, I'd love that. I think there'd be so much money to be made if we got our act together, instead of the short float reporting every 2 weeks. Having real-time data, like how we knew that every CTA in the world was short right now, like more so than really big bear markets. And we're only down 6-7% or 7-8% on the SPY, and everyone's that bared up. It makes me very interested. Give me some of that crypto style real-time data. I'd love that. You can go and you can see like the real-time Bitcoin short.
So Qs went green. SPY's flirting with green.
Yep.
Starting to get that break move here.
Tiger pushing out of consolidation finally. Love to see it. Like to see continuation there after the little.
I stepped up. See if we go for the breakout. I'm going for the move, guys. So
sector's starting to flip green. XLI is about to go green. XLY is quite strong, up almost 1%. I guess that's probably off of Tesla. XLP went green. XLC is trying. It's close. XLK is trying.
XLY is a weird one.
Yeah, like it's such an interesting combination of names for sure. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, but it makes more sense than Coca-Cola being in Nasdaq, right? Or is it Pepsi? I always forget.
there's the equal weight version. Yeah. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, is that XLY is 50% Amazon and Tesla. So it becomes really hard to look at it for any sort of like understanding of what's going on with the average consumer stock.
Yeah.
If it's one of those things, RSPD, that's the one that I look at.
Oh, okay.
Problem is it's not liquid enough to like look at intraday. But yeah, this is the equal weight consumer discretionary stock. So this just it takes that insane weighting out of it. Yeah, it's one of those. It's really hard when you're looking at these weights, which you have to, right? If you're looking at an ETF and you don't, I'm not saying you need to know the exact weight, but you don't have some rough weightings of what's in there.
Yeah.
You're just looking at a line on a chart, right? It's just a basket of stocks if you don't know what the basket of stocks are. But yeah, if anyone doesn't know, you take XLY, right? And I'll look at this chart for a second.
Oh, nice.
And then you'll look at TSLA and Amazon. They're going to be the same chart, right? Just a combination of those two charts, which again doesn't make any sense to me. Like rebalance somewhat. I get it. You've classified these stocks and you're doing it based off market cap weighting, and there's really not too much else in the consumer discretionary sector. But yeah, so equal weight sectors or equal weight is I spend a lot of time going through the equal weights just because it gives you a better average of what's going on out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. XLY is so weird because you have other sectors that are very heavily weighted into very, few stocks like XLE, for example. But I mean, Chevron and Exxon are a much better kind of bellwether for the overall sector.
Right.
Than Amazon and Tesla.
Well, yeah, especially because, right, Amazon, 50% of the revenue comes from tech, Amazon Web Service. And then you've got Tesla where car company, tech company, whatever, right?
Who the heck knows?
So it's like, is that so I get it. So then you have like things like Harley Davidson, which are part of consumer discretionary, but they're like 0.1% of the index. So yeah, again, the beauty of them, they're not very liquid. They're not trading vehicles, but RSPD, and then there's RSP V or RSPY. There's one for consumer staples too. It's actually one of my favorite. I think I have it here. One of my favorite ratio charts, where you take the equal weight consumer discretionary, and then you take the equal weight consumer staples.
Hey guys, I see a post in the chat that I just want to address before we get out of here. It's 10:56, guys. I'm still in this trade too. I'm trying to focus and also answer the questions. Noah, that's how much I care about your message there. I see that you said that I was trading on this platform, blocked my trades on one company, didn't let me sell or buy. I think what you might have seen is a trading halt, what's called the trading halt. And maybe you don't know of a trading halt, so that's why you're a little bit confused on why it's going into a locked ordering box. But if it wasn't that case, then yeah, definitely reach out to us. Either way, we'll explain it. We'll take a look to see what ticket got blocked and things like that. On your platform, there's this little thing by the lockbox that shows you your event logs. You can click on that detail, and that's going to pop out a window. Take a screenshot of that to send it over to us to let us know exactly what order you were doing and trying to commit at the timing. That will help us go ahead and give you the research needed to make you understand what happened there, Noah. Like always, no one's here trying to get against you or lock you out of any trade. It's all about what rules are on the market.
I think, unless I'm misreading it, sounds like that happened on a different platform, and he's asking if that would happen on Trade the Pool.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by the question itself, so I tried to address it as best. Maybe Steve understanding it a little bit better here, that it could happen on other platforms. It happens on every platform.
Yeah,
that's stocks halted.
Yeah. That's another thing that I was mentioning of how it's the market rules, not the Trade the Pool rules. So it would just happen on everywhere.
Right.
And the real key is that it's a certain amount of time that it's locked up.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about today with, like, if it was MLGO, if it was Newsmax, if it was any of those things, then right, that was the market. Like MLGO, I think was halted like 5-6 times today. Newsmax probably 1 million times. Right, if you're trading these things that move, what even CSAI that you were talking about, Mitch, you said that got halted a couple times this morning too. So,
yeah, 2 halts on that one. So we'll see what happens there, guys. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Not a bad day overall. I hope you guys enjoyed the action overall, walking away with the money bag today, and going to continue going over. We'll see what happens on CSAI if I'm able to cash in some more money. But overall, it wasn't a bad one. It was a money raining type of day. We'll see what happens with Liberation Day tomorrow. Don't miss out, guys. It's going to be a crazy, crazy day. I can guarantee you that. We will be here along for the journey. So like always, guys, give thanks to Steve and Michael for joining us and continuing to push on our journey here. Any last words for the traders out there? I'll go to you, Steve, and then we'll end with Michael.
I would say just I would preach caution tomorrow. It's going to be wild. You don't have to chase. Although it might work out, I can't advise getting too hasty. If you do trade, size small, and good luck out there.
Go all in and buy stocks.